Toastmasters guests, especially Gwen. First thing, I want to applaud you for actually going to a district conference. I think a lot in the corporate world, they don't do that. I've met a lot of corporate clubs and they never go to the conference. Conferences are great places to grow and meet people and understand the bigger Toastmaster world. So anybody that has an opportunity, I know we only do them once a year now, so try to get to one if you can. And you pointed out those other people in this group that went to the conference. So now you took that and you linked everybody together. You made it relevant to everybody in the room because they know other people. So they say, oh, that person went, I know them. So now you made a linkage. So that was a great way to bring the audience into your speech. And then you mentioned a dignitary also. So you mentioned Balraj, which I actually happen to know also. And that kind of brought you also, you actually saw, a past international president. That gave you more credibility in what you were saying rather than just, I met some guy on the street that told me this. So it gave you some credibility, so good use of that. It wasn't so much name dropping, but it was just credibility, so it worked out really well. I love, I always tell people the laboratory, this is a laboratory. I always said that, and even though he used that term, but he obviously does now. But that's a great way to think about this, and I think you communicated that well, this is not a class, it's not a course, it's a laboratory. We come here to experiment, and that's a great thing you pointed out. I really love your vocal variety, your vocal tone and voice. You project well, you get everything out there. We can hear you, there's no issues there. The one thing you talked about was, and I've seen this a lot also, clubs that everybody, yeah, good job, and you sit down, you don't learn anything. We call it whitewash. Try not to whitewash, I tell people we have to be authentic with each other in order to make this work. A couple of things I think you could have helped you is you had a lot of points in there, a lot of things, and you said we should, and you left it at that. There was no, in marketing we call to action. We should, here's how we can do this. How can we make this better? How can we do this? You got to one at the end with your ethics speech, but then it kind of got muddy a little bit instead of a real strong call to action. I know this was a report, not necessarily a prepared speech, but you could have, if you were doing a speech, I said, let's do this strong. And don't worry about the logistics of it, like we said. Just say, let's do, convince people to do it, and then we can take the logistics offline and do that on another place along the way. So overall, I think for a non-prepared speech, it was still a speech, even though it was a report. I think you did a great job just trying to think about how do you motivate people and how do you get them to do something with the information you're providing. Thank you.
Thank you.